A quiet German home in 1945. An 11-year-old boy, Helmut, lies in bed, pretending to sleep. From the next room, he hears his parents whispering in despair. His father speaks with dread. "It's time. We must end it before they do to us what we did to them." The boy doesn't understand. The next day, the family goes on a seemingly joyful picnic in the woods. Hours later, Helmut's father takes his life. This chilling story isn't fiction. It's the psychological aftermath of Adolf Hitler's reign, a reign that drove millions to devastation and left scars on the psyche of a generation. But to understand how such despair came to be, we must go back to Hitler's origins and trace his path to infamy. The origins. An artist turned dictator, Adolf Hitler was born on April 20, 1889, in Braunau am Inn, Austria, near the German border. His father, Alois, was a stern customs official, while his mother, Clara, adored Adolf and doted on him. The loss of his younger brother Edmund to diphtheria marked a turning point in young Hitler's life. He became withdrawn and rebellious, often clashing with his father. Despite his dreams of becoming an artist, his life took a sharp turn when the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna rejected him twice. The rejection wasn't just a blow to his aspirations, but also to his identity. Vienna, during this time, exposed Hitler to rampant anti-Semitism, ideas that would later define his ideology. When his parents died, Hitler drifted into poverty, living in shelters and scraping by with odd jobs. The city that should have been the cradle of his artistic ambitions became the crucible of his political fanaticism. The catalyst. World War I. World War I erupted in 1914, giving Hitler a purpose he had lacked. Joining the German army, he served with distinction as a messenger on the Western Front. The war shaped his worldview, instilling in him a sense of camaraderie and discipline. However, Germany's defeat in 1918 left him shattered. The Treaty of Versailles, which ended the war, imposed harsh reparations on Germany, stripping it of territory, military strength, and economic stability. For Hitler, this treaty was a humiliation, a betrayal orchestrated, he believed, by Jews and communists. These beliefs became the foundation of his hatred and his resolve to restore Germany's pride. The rise to power, from obscurity to furor. In 1919, Hitler joined the German Workers' Party, a small nationalist group. His fiery speeches and ability to manipulate crowds made him a rising star. By 1921, he had taken control of the party, rebranding it as the National Socialist German Workers' Party, better known as the Nazi Party. The failed beer hall putsch in 1923, an attempted coup at Munich, landed Hitler in prison. While incarcerated, he wrote Mein Kampf, My Struggle, a manifesto outlining his vision for Germany and his virulent anti-Semitism. Though initially ignored, the book became a blueprint for his regime. The economic collapse of the Great Depression in 1929 provided Hitler the opportunity to exploit public despair. Promising to rebuild Germany and restore national pride, he garnered widespread support. By 1933, he was appointed Chancellor. Within months, he dismantled democracy, declaring himself Führer and turning Germany into a dictatorship. The Nazi regime, a reign of terror. Once in power, Hitler moved swiftly to consolidate control. The Gestapo hunted down political opponents, while propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels manipulated public opinion. Schools indoctrinated children with Nazi ideology, and Hitler Youth programs trained the next generation of loyalists. The Nuremberg laws of 1935 institutionalized racism, depriving Jews of citizenship and banning intermarriage. Hitler's vision of a pure Aryan race led to widespread persecution, forced sterilizations, and euthanasia programs targeting those deemed unfit. Germany's economy initially recovered under Hitler's regime, thanks to massive public works projects like the Autobahn and Rearmament. But this economic growth was built on lies and aggression, paving the way for war. The Holocaust, humanity's darkest chapter. As Hitler's power grew, so did his atrocities. The Holocaust was the systematic extermination of over 6 million Jews and millions of others, including Roma, disabled individuals, political dissidents, and homosexuals. Concentration camps like Auschwitz and Treblinka became death factories. Victims were gassed, starved, and subjected to inhumane experiments. Entire families were torn apart, communities erased. The world stood by, unaware or unwilling to act, as Hitler's final solution unfolded. The downfall. From triumph to despair, Hitler's hubris led him to invade the Soviet Union in 1941, opening a disastrous two-front war. The harsh Russian winter and the resilience of Soviet forces led to catastrophic losses. Meanwhile, the Allied invasion of Normandy in 1944 marked the beginning of the end. By April 1945, as Allied forces closed in on Berlin, Hitler retreated to his bunker. Paranoid and delusional, he married Eva Braun, and hours later took his own life. His death marked the collapse of the Third Reich, but the scars of his rule lingered. Legacy, lessons from the past. Hitler's regime left the world irrevocably changed. The United Nations was formed to prevent such atrocities. The Nuremberg trials held Nazi leaders accountable, setting precedents for international justice. Yet, the echoes of his ideology persist in dark corners of the world. His story serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power, propaganda, and prejudice. Helmut's story is a microcosm of the despair and destruction that Hitler's reign brought to millions. But it is also a lesson, a reminder that vigilance, empathy, and education are our best defenses against history repeating itself. Let's keep these lessons alive. Share this story, learn from it, and remember, the cost of forgetting is too high to bear. Thank you for watching. See you in the next journey through history.